I've got some growing up to do, and so do you. Love me like a flame consumes, honest for the sake of salty.
All right. Well, old news. You guys are an awesome, amazing indie rock, math rock, emo band from the Midwest. Thank you very much for being on here today with me.
Man, thanks for having us.
Of course.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nolan.
Um, and why don't you guys take a second to introduce yourselves?
I'm Max. I play drums in the band.
And I'm Bo, and I play guitar and yell at microphones.
Awesome. I said Midwest that you guys are from. Well, where exactly are you guys from? Like what cities?
So we split our time a little bit. So most of the bands, being Max and Blaine, live in Wichita, Kansas, and
Okay.
I live in Lawrence, Kansas, which is kind of in the Kansas City, Missouri area.
Cool. You guys just released your new record, Self-Acceptance Speech, off of We're Trying Records, which is a fucking great record, dudes. It's a really good blend of the math rock, emo, and indie. And this is your first release with that record label, is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice. How did you guys come in contact with this record label? Did you reach out to them while shopping around for the record, or how'd that happen?
So we've had a pretty casual relationship with Jordan, is the owner of We're Trying.
Mhm.
So we kind of bumped paths on the internet. We had put out our most recent EP, Hands Like Glaciers, and unbeknownst to us, Jordan had picked it up and tossed it on one of his Spotify playlists. He runs a fantastic kind of side playlisting operation called Sad Jams.
Nice.
And he kind of like, the whole shtick is like he'll Photoshop you onto like a jam jar. So anyway, we thought the guy was super, super funny, and so we hit it off with him on the internet. And in August of last year, he invited us to play a festival that he was putting on in Denton. We got to know him and his roster, and soon after that, we didn't even really pitch this record to very many places. He had just welcomed us so much and made things so easy that it was just really easy and logical to go with him.
Nice.
Yeah, I think like a real natural and like easy move.
Nice. That must have been a real breeze, especially because this is your guys' first full length, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're totally right. It was super easy, and I think that was part of the reason we went with Jordan and We're Trying, is they cater specifically to DIY acts. So Jordan operates the label under this kind of methodology of do it together. And we've always been a DIY kind of act. We've never signed to anyone before. We've always managed our own releases. But through Jordan, we kind of got access to some of that larger infrastructure that we needed, but without having to sacrifice our, quite frankly, our morality, or having to surrender any intellectual property rights.
Right.
So for us, it was very equitable at all times, and honestly, he's just a great dude, so we've got a lot of trust in him.
Awesome. I'm also like a really big fan of the use of the brass instruments that you guys have, like brass instruments over indie guitars. Like that gets me every single time. It's a very like tiny moving parts vibe to it. Is that like a band that really inspired you guys?
Yeah, Tiny Moving Parts. Them and like American Football are like two of our like
Right.
favorite like math rock emo kind of bands that we listen to. Yeah, Foxing. Yeah, we can go on all day about bands with trumpet players that we just look up to and kind of love that sound.
Yeah, and like just kind of building on Max's answer, a big part of how the three of us met was we met playing jazz. And so we played in different groups. I don't think all three of us ever played in the same ensemble at the same time, but we played together in different formats and always had horn players.
Nice.
So like I met our bass player playing in a 6-piece funk band. I met Max playing jazz at our university. So we kind of grew up in this culture of having horns around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so whenever it was time to form this project, we were like, oh, we know so many good trumpet players. Like, let's just grab one of them, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, I think I actually was so I was in concert band with Sutton at the time, and then
Sutton's
Bo,
our
you
first trumpet player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bo, you and I were in a percussion ensemble together, and that was wild. And then Blaine and I actually ended up playing in a jazz combo together after we were like, hey, let's form a band, which we just kind of got assigned to, so like it kind of worked out. We weren't like, hey, we played a band, let's play in a jazz combo either. They were just like, yeah, you guys should play in a combo together. We're like, okay. So
Yeah. On the flip side, that was how I met Blaine. We got randomly assigned into the same jazz combo for class. So it's like kind of this serendipitous formation, you know?
yeah.
Is that so? That's like how the band started. Then you guys were all in the same school.
More or less, you know, like that was how we got to know each other personally.
Gotcha.
As far as the project started, originally, I think this might have been, probably back in like 2017.
Okay.
I was sitting on kind of a batch of like indie rock songs that were kind of outside any project that I could put them into. And so I kind of had this lark of like, well, what if I just recorded these songs? And so I did. And what ended up happening was I was really blown away. That record ended up getting picked up by Jed Bodwin from Strange Currency. So he writes for Pop Matters and NPR. He's a really influential figure in our music community. And so he wrote about it. And pretty soon after that, we started getting show offers. And I realized like, oh, I don't have a lineup at all. And because I knew Max and Blaine and Sutton so well, immediately when kind of trying to figure out how to scale this from like a recording project to like an actual live act, like I didn't call anyone else. You know, it was just Max, just Blaine, just Sutton. They were like the guys. And so anyway, long story short, we met in school, but kind of this project pushed us to come together outside of it.
That sounds awesome. I mean, most bands in indie and emo don't really come together from jazz class. You know, they might have met each other in band, but not necessarily jazz. I wouldn't say. And I know you guys just released this new record in October, but are you guys sitting on any other material right now? Do you guys have plans for more music soon?
We've been demoing out stuff, just kind of messing around. I recently actually have like not a great studio setup, but something to like, you know, write stuff and send stuff back and forth. So that's kind of been our process lately, is just kind of messing around with riffs and seeing what we can come up with. We don't have anything like set in stone really, as far as like a next release. Normally at this time we'd be on the road touring on what we just previously released, but we put it out and we were like, what now? We can't really do it. So we're just kind of taking the time to just like really live in the moment of us putting out this album, you know, and just kind of relaxing and taking it easy.
Nice.
Definitely.
Just kind of soaking it all in before we really jump into another project.
Right.
So,
100%. And just building on what Max said, like we maintain a very robust Google Drive full of like demos.
Nice.
So right now
So many
we're kind of, so many riffs are just in there. Most of them aren't even like in song format. It's just here's 30 seconds and I'll come back to this in 6 months. So we're constantly composing. And a lot of the time with the way our writing process works is we will compose constantly, and then kind of whenever we decide, oh, hey, it's probably about time to do something, we'll go through and we'll look at what we've composed over the last 6 months, the last year, and we'll kind of tie that into a format. So I think, like Max said, we're still kind of really riding that wave of taking it easy. You know, making a full-length record is a really exhausting process. And
for sure.
But at the same time, you know, I know that we have the intention of putting out more music next year. We're just unsure of the format. Is it going to be a few singles? Is it going to be an EP? Is it going to be another full-length? We haven't really decided because we're not done composing, but we do have the intention of continuing to put out music here pretty soon.
Awesome. Yeah, when you guys when you guys were essentially becoming a band, you came out of the gates with 3 back-to-back EPs, right?
Yeah, so we came. it was like spread over the course of like 2 years.
Okay.
I think it was 3 EPs in just shy of 2 years. I think we were putting one out about every 8 months and some
Nice.
change. Yeah, Max, you want to take the rest of it?
Yeah, so we did our first EP, I think it was like April of 2017, and then did our second EP, Castro, and that was in February, I believe.
Hmm.
So that was like, you know, an introduction, and then immediately like, here's some more music.
Nice.
And then a year later, we did Hands Like Glaciers. So we've always stayed like pretty steady
Mhm.
as far as like having a release and having material that we're working on.
Mhm.
And yeah, like I said, like right now we've got a bunch of like demo ideas, but you know, nothing really set in stone. But
Right. I mean,
working on it.
yeah, and I mean that makes sense. I was just curious. I was imagining all 3 of those EPs coming out like one a month almost, or something ridiculous like that.
I could
no,
not
So I was
even
about to be
imagine.
like, how the fuck did you do that?
No, we're not that fast, and we're also not that rich.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the deal.
Right.
You know,
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
like I think we could, if we really pushed ourselves. Now, an EP a month is impossible, but
Right,
we
right.
could, you know, I think if we had more resources, we could put out more material. Like we're sitting on it, but yeah, that first little bit, you know, we were doing about every 6 months, and then what happened was we started to tour, and then all of a sudden, a big chunk of your year, you're not even in the state that like you live in, and so for us, like we kind of live these, we surf old news, I guess you could say it. Like we do these stints of on and off, and so we'll tour really heavily for like a period, and then we'll chill and we'll write,
Mhm.
and then we'll go back and do it again, which is, it's not unfamiliar to acts of our size, but you know, I would love to, if we could maintain, you know, that really fast paced turnaround, but
Yeah.
you know, you kind of got to pick and choose sometimes.
Right, definitely.
The album was not cheap to make, I'm not gonna lie. So we're not just sitting on that and I don't know, saving our money, I guess.
Right. Where did you guys record that at?
We kind of did like a hybrid, which actually is kind of what we normally do with EPs. But in this case, there's a studio in town called Zepp Teplin. And we did kind of all the meat and potatoes there,
Okay.
bass, guitar, drums. And then we did like some auxiliary instruments at the studio that was actually like a school at one point. So the room was just real big, a lot of like space and organicness to it. So we did like a bunch of like saxophone, trumpet, all the auxiliary instruments that you hear on the record was done there. And then vocals was done actually in a house studio with our engineer.
Nice.
So
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
big believers in like tailoring the space that we record into the instrument.
Mhm.
So like, you know, we're really blessed. Like we live in Wichita, that's really close to Kansas City. Between Wichita and Kansas City, there's some amazing studios. Like there's Air House, there's Brickyard, like there's a ton of them. But we've always been believers in finding unorthodox spaces. So we, for example, for this record, like Max said, we did the backbone stuff in an actual studio. Then we did vibraphone and auxiliaries in a schoolhouse. On the flip side, I did vocal harmonies and extra guitar layers in the back room of the public library. And all the noise elements were recorded. Do you know Joe Walsh? Like,
No.
Hotel California, Joe Walsh,
Oh, okay.
the guy who did that solo.
Okay.
So I used to live in his house.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know it until after I moved in there, but my landlord was like, "Oh, hey man, yeah, Joe Walsh used to live here before you."
Damn.
So I spent a lot of time recording in that place as
Okay.
well. So this record is really like a mosaic of all the places we've lived and played music in, and you know, we were really intentional about that.
Wow. Nice.
all the guitar solos you hear on the record was written in that house. So it's
Okay. Gotta channel that energy from
so
him.
influenced by the spirit of Walsh in that house that
That's awesome. Lyrically, what was some of the inspiration behind the new record?
And so normally lyrics are something that we do last. Like
Okay.
it's honestly a real weak point of mine musically. I think is my lyrics, and so for this record, I really wanted to take my time. So I started a little bit in advance of recording, but as far as specific inspiration, there's some motifs on the record that I really spent a lot of time exploring. But as far as specific inspiration, I was in a total Kurt Vonnegut kick. And so I spent a lot of time digging through like Cat's Cradle, Breakfast of Champions, and what I found was he just had these super snappy, biting phrases.
Mhm.
And so I tried to incorporate a little bit more of that literature and that style. And additionally, the big task for lyrics this time was trying to remove as many pronouns as possible.
Okay.
So I think I've mentioned this at other points before, but one thing that bothers me about emo music is so much of the lyricism and content is based in these I, you, we sentence frameworks. And I think that doesn't give you an opportunity for a lot of depth, especially when it's like every single line.
Right.
And
Right.
so when I went back and I read through all my lyrics of the last 3 releases that we had done, and I realized like, oh, I am doing that.
Gotcha.
And so I spent a lot of time kind of de-pronouncing my phrases. And our producer and one of our engineers, his name is Joey Lemon. He's a dear friend of ours. He's a creative writing professor. And so Joey and I spent a long time like passing lyrics back and forth, and he would very gently roast me and push me to do more. And so I'm really proud of how the lyrics turned out this time around.
That's awesome. Yeah, a polite roast from a friend can do a lot for you. That's probably the best constructive criticism you can get.
Bo, did he have a red pen that he made notes with, like every other writing teacher in like history?
No, he didn't. We did so much of it digitally because and I know that obviously it's really easy to just like dive into like COVID's effect on stuff, but that hit literally the week that we were supposed to go into the studio for.
Oh, gotcha.
And so we bumped it back and spent a lot of time going back and forth digitally. But whenever we did get in the same room, we would bust out pen and paper and scratch shit out. He's a great guy, and he helped us so much.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
super good, man. Just one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet.
Nice. I was looking through you guys' Instagram, and I really liked the merch bundle that you guys did with the lighters. And then I also really liked the one shirt that you guys had where it was old news, like in the Nintendo logo. That was pretty tight. Do you guys have plans for releasing more merch like that, similar to that?
That'd be cool. Honestly, that's not really something we thought of. We did just before, well, actually kind of in the middle of lockdown, we ordered a bunch of shirts, which was kind of a weird time to do that, but
Right.
whatever. It's just kind of when it worked out.
Right.
So we've got a bunch of merch that we're kind of sitting on right now,
Gotcha.
but none of it's really like Nintendo themed or anything like that. But
Right. I mean, I thought it was super unique. I love anytime a band has like a lighter or, when people will do like sort of like gimmicky things where it sort of looks like something, but I appreciate when people are just like, no, like this is exactly like the Nintendo logo or like I like that.
Yeah, and for that one, okay, so I'm gonna try to throw as little shade as possible.
Oh.
But, we were approached by a company
Uh-huh.
whose whole, I'm not gonna say their name, but their whole business model is that they approach a band and they will sell a shirt for that band on their website for 24 hours. And that is the only time the shirt is available. So they'll design something individually for, the band. And, you've seen everyone from Real Friends or like Foxing, The Wonder Years, like big acts that we really look up to have like used the service. Well, they approached us and they were like, hey, we see you guys do, you guys are really into video games. What if we did like a Nintendo shirt? And I was like, hell yeah, let's do it. And so they do it, they launch it, and then they did not pay us
Ooh.
anything for selling what honestly is quite a lot of shirts, and they didn't respond to our emails, nothing. So kind of as a, well, hey, fuck you,
Yeah.
we just stole their design and started reprinting it.
Nice.
The thing is, it was the least they can do. Like, first off, just don't. And
Yeah.
if you are, then like, okay, that's fine. But also, I'm keeping your shirt. So
Yeah. I've never heard of a scam like that. That's fucked up. I'm
And
sorry,
it's not-
guys.
No, and it's not a scam. Like, it's a real legit company, and I think that these people were probably just really overwhelmed.
Oh, okay.
A lot of, and I can't really like blame them. And this is why I don't want to say the company's name, is because
Okay,
like
gotcha.
these are probably totally fine people, and I've seen them do great work before. I just think we fell through the cracks.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so we definitely held on to that design though.
Oh,
What's
okay.
weird though too is they actually hit up like a bunch of bands in Wichita. So I work in a music store, and one of the guys that I work with, he plays in the band as well.
Mhm.
And around the same time that we decided to do that logo, he also had a shirt design going through them, like the week after or whatever, or maybe it was the week before. And we were talking, and I was like, "Yeah, this company hit us up. They want to do a shirt for like 24 hours." And they're like, "You're doing that too, dude? Be careful, because like we didn't get our money." And we're like, "Oh well, we already did it." And so we both just sat there like, "Oof." We both just got.
But yeah, like the lighters and the rolling papers, like, I think there's something to be said about like shirts are dope. Like I have a ton of band shirts,
Right.
and I think hats are really cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everyone has them,
Mhm.
right? So for us, we were like, well, what can we make this useful but also unique? So like, I'm pretty sure about 80% of our demographic smokes.
Oh, gotcha.
So we were like, well, lighters for cigarettes,
Mhm.
and those who don't smoke cigs engage in some other smoking activities. We were like, lighters, rolling papers.
Nice. Very nice. Earlier, you guys mentioned that you guys are big fans of video games. Max, you and I were talking about how you play Smash earlier. Have you guys been getting more into a certain game during quarantine?
I know Bo has.
Oh, yeah?
I have been crushing Dark Souls this entire time.
Nice.
I started right at the beginning of the semester, which is a terrible idea to start anything. But
Right.
yeah, I started Dark Souls 1, and then was like, oh, I love it. And so I've been on like a huge Dark Souls kick this entire quarantine. And still haven't beat them all. They're fucking hard, but they're a lot of fun,
It's so long too. Like, there's
the
so much you
marathon,
can do.
each one.
Yeah.
Normally, when I sit down to play a video game, I play Smash just because it's like it's there, and
Mhm.
I don't feel like I have to play it for a certain amount of time. Normally it's like, okay, sit down and get through this level, but you never really know how long that level is going to take. With Smash, it's just like, especially when you're playing by yourself, it's just like, play for however long you feel like it.
Yeah.
But actually recently just started up playing Super Mario Sunshine again.
Oh, nice.
That game holds up very well. Very fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was the first video game I ever played.
Really?
Wow, really?
I think
That's a good
it's a good one. I got it on like the GameCube, like way back in the day.
Okay.
And then I remember like I played it and I was like, this is so fun. And then I got to the first boss, which is like that big flower, and I couldn't figure it out, and then I gave up and never played it again.
Dude, hearing you say GameCube and then way back in the day in the same sentence was really weird.
I think it's probably only 15 years,
I
right?
guess it is technically retro now, but
Yeah. I'm
it
sitting
really
over
does not feel
thinking
like that
about.
long ago.
Yeah, I'm over here thinking about like NES and Super Nintendo as like way back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
But, yeah, I guess GameCube is pretty old now.
I think it's really just that I'm not that cool, you know?
Nonsense. Recently I unearthed all of my old systems from my parents' house. And so I pulled out my old Nintendo, Super Nintendo, N64, and Sega Genesis. And
Nice.
and I plugged them into my TV, and then like I think like the TV's a little old, so I'm thinking there's something wrong with it, but like none of the systems will go, like all the systems turn on, and I have like all of these fucking games just sitting here, but for whatever reason I can't connect to the TV. So I'm just like, well, I need to go. So now I'm like going through old game stores and stuff like that, and like I mean, I'm sure you guys have been to like old school video game stores where like they have they're very weird places. I love them to death, but like it's a very weird clientele. And so like I walk in, I'm just like, hi, I'm just here for Nintendo, and they're like, you want to play Warhammer? I'm like, no, I'm not here for that. Like, I'm just here for some Nintendo. What is one artist that's completely out of your genre that you would love to perform with?
Oh, that's a good question.
I got mine. Max, do you have yours?
Yeah, go for it, Bill. I think I know who you're gonna say.
Oh, you totally know. I want to play with the Ting Tings.
With who?
The Ting Tings.
The
Like
Ting Tings?
Shut Up and Let Me Go. That's
Okay.
not my name. Fruit Machine. Like, oh my God, I love this band. And so they made this record called We Started Nothing. I
Okay.
think it was 2000. I want to say 2007, but it could be 2004. Like this is like early 2000s.
Okay.
Like what was they call me Stacy. They call me her. That's not
Dude, I think that's the only song I know by them.
that album.
Yeah, I
that
loosely
album
know it.
that album is amazing, start to finish, and so it totally gets overlooked by like these couple of singles, which are amazing singles. But like
Right.
the thing about it is, every single song on that record could be just as good of a single.
Mhm.
So I would love to do that. Just some really, really light, airy indie pop. I think would be such a fun bill with like some really screechy, weird emo music. Like,
Nice.
oh, that'd be so fun.
I'm all about that. That sounds tight.
I'm kind of in the same vein. I was gonna say "Okay Go,"
Oh, nice.
and they're kind of also, well, I guess now they're kind of indie pop, but their earlier stuff was a little bit more alternative,
Mhm.
which honestly isn't too far off from what we do. But I just really love that band.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's totally a different genre. Yeah, they're pretty tight. I like them.
Yeah, they're super fun. That album "Oh No" is just a banger, start to finish. So good.
Nice.
We all have, like, the three of us have such an affinity for that like early 2000s kind of turn of the millennium, like indie pop, indie rock,
Mhm.
alternative kind of stuff.
Right.
And it's a huge influence on our songwriting. So a big thing for us has always been, we love extreme forms of music.
Right.
Like we love really odd time, really chaos laden music,
Mhm.
but we're also a believer in a good hook. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that's something that like those acts all do super well, is like those hooks are impossibly catchy.
Oh yeah.
And so we, a lot of the times, we'll kind of go off on a limb and like do our crazy noodly stuff, but like we always got to come back for something that can get stuck in your head. And I think that influence is so important for that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah, when you have really off the wall music, it's really fun and entertaining, but you also have to have something that's like nice and digestible as all the hooks and everything like that, and that way you have like a perfect package of bands. Someone is ringing my fucking doorbell. Can you guys give me 1 second?
I heard that. Bo, how you doing?
I'm doing solid, man. Like, just doing a
I
lot
miss
of
you.
school. I miss you too, man. I miss you and Blaine so bad.
Yeah, I bet school's kicking your butt right now.
Yeah, it is. I'm gearing up to present at this like undergraduate research thing, and like it's the first time I've ever done that. And that's some like real boy school shit, and I'm I'm just not good at it yet,
That's some grown-up shit right there.
But how's your dog?
Oh, dude, he's great. I think. Oh, he was in here just a second ago, laying on my bed. But man, he's just like the best boy. I love him so much.
So happy. Noel and Max just got a dog not too long ago.
Aw, nice. What kind of dog?
He's a German Shepherd Pit Bull mix. I think he heard us talking about him. He just walked in. Let me see if I can get him on. Simi
Oh my god. Hi.
Oh
Can you
my
see
god.
him? Hey, buddy. Hi.
Officially
just
the
so
best
sweet.
interview ever.
It's adorable.
But I've had him for a little bit over a month, and he's just like immediately my best friend. I love him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, someone was ringing the door, but my roommates are playing Dungeons and Dragons tonight.
Blaine and I play Dungeons and Dragons
Nice.
every week.
Oh
like
wow.
every Sunday. So yeah, we're huge D&D fans.
What do you play as?
So right now we're playing Pathfinder, and we're playing kind of like a variation of it. So I'm a gunslinger, and he is some sort of monk derivative. Like, I'm not really sure exactly what his is, but it's like an unarmed fighter kind of deal. And we play every Sunday. We've played every Sunday for the last like 4 years. So
Oh, nice. Max, you joining in on Dungeons and Dragons at all?
I am not a nerd. Nah, I'm just a different kind of nerd, I suppose. I never really got into games like that.
Mhm.
I don't know.
My roommates got really into it during quarantine. We were playing this board game. You guys know the movie The Thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
My brother loves that movie.
It's a fucking great movie. So there's a board game that's for it, and it's like a real it's like Clue with, I don't know, a couple other classic board games, but you have to figure out who's the monster the entire time. And once they got tired of that game, they moved on to another game called like the Haunting on Manor Hill or something.
Yeah. That one's so fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Once they got that game, they were just like, all right, well, let's just play D&D.
You're already like 90% of the way there at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
Might as well just go full send. Just get it.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was their same mindset, so they do it every Wednesday now.
Yeah. My brother recently just started getting into D&D,
Mhm.
and he was like so inspired that he came up with his own like game that was D&D, like kind of similar format, but a little bit different. But yeah, he's been having a lot of fun with that. So,
What's the game?
I live vicariously through him with the D&D stuff.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I'll like check in with the D&D games. I'll just sit there and like have a White Claw and just like watch the game, and it's just like it's interesting to watch everything that's happening and listen. But I can't give myself to a game for a couple of hours. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna do something. I gotta.
Yeah, that's like one of those
I
things.
hear
where
there's some campaigns that just last forever.
Yeah.
They just play like longer than 2 hours, like you said. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Dude, it's
Yeah, I
crazy.
don't-
Like you see, like in our game that Blaine and I play, like, you know, it's probably like, I don't know, anywhere between like three hours on average, maybe 4 sometimes. But
Mhm.
like the guy that DMs our game, his games normally last like 6 hours.
Holy shit.
It's like, where do you find 6 hours? As like
Yeah. Like, could you take breaks and stuff and like, go eat and then like, go run errands or something? I don't know. Damn. All right, guys. Well, I'll go ahead and let you go. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to plug? Any last comments or anything?
I would love to use this opportunity to point out some Wichita bands that I think are worth checking out as well. Definitely give a listen to Team Tremolo.
Okay.
Barry is another fantastic one. I'm really into Cartwheel is a third that I adore. Also, The Caves and Kill Vargas are 2 that we've played with a lot, and just fantastic musicians and even better people. So if you have a chance, if you're seeing this episode and you're giving our record a spin, go ahead and hit that related artists button on Spotify, and it will lead you right to all of our friends' bands. And I strongly encourage you to take the time to go give them a listen.
Nice.
yeah, for sure. There's a lot of talent here in Wichita, which I keep forgetting you're in California, so you didn't really know that.
Yeah, sorry. But that's pretty cool because, I mean, I'm stoked to have more music to listen to. I was actually looking through your guys' related artists earlier, and I was like, oh, fuck, I actually don't know a lot of these bands. So it's
They're pretty underground.
pretty underground. Yeah, so it's lots of new music to check out, and it looks like it's gonna be a nice little rabbit hole to go down.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
man.
Well, thanks so much, Nolan, for having us. We really appreciate it, and thanks for taking the time out of your day, man.
Definitely, of
Yeah.
course. Thank you guys for being here. Stoked I finally got to talk to you guys, and hopefully we can see each other in person soon.
Dude, I would love that.
Be amazing.
Yeah, what a pipe dream. Who knows?
I
We'll
feel
get to the
that.
West Coast one day.
I feel that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. You guys will get here eventually. Like it'll be like no time at all. All right, guys.
Take your
Take
word
it
for
easy.
it.
All right. See ya.
Bye,
Ciao.
Nolan.
Bye.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out all the links below for old news, as well as all the links for rad music. We have some merch available at our store. Thank you again so much for watching, and feel free to give a like and subscribe.